All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Shahinaz Ahmad, and I'm the country director of Amideast in Egypt. I'm delighted to be with you today to talk about Rise in Egypt, finding and supporting talented young people across Egypt. We have with us today Mr. Tony Woods from the Schmidt Foundation. Tony is director and head of talent for Schmidt Futures. In his role, his overall responsibility is for identifying and recruiting top talent and creating robust learning and development opportunities. Tony also helps build international partnerships for Rise Schmidt Futures' latest global talent program designed for exceptional 15 to 17-year-olds. Previously, he worked for the Boston Consulting Group and served as a White House Fellow. He served as an aide to the governor of New York, ran for Congress, and worked to develop volunteer-driven solutions for American cities and service nations. Tony holds an executive MBA from the University of Maryland, an MPP from Harvard Kennedy School of Government, and a BS from West Point. Welcome, Tony. We're delighted to have you with us today. Our webinar today will be conducted in English. However, if you have any questions, please, you can write them in Arabic in the chat and we will translate them. النهارده الويبينار بتاعنا هيبقى باللغه الانجليزيه، ولكن لو في حد يحب يسال اي اسئله باللغه العربيه ممكن تكتبوا الاسئله في الشات واحنا هنرد عليهم ونترجمهم بالانجليزي. Okay, Tony, welcome. Thank you for being with us today. It's really a pleasure to have you with us. I want to start off by asking you first a very general question. If you could tell us about the RISE program and the objective behind this program for our audience today.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you so much for pulling this together. We're really delighted to be able to bring RISE not only to young people around the world, but specifically in Egypt. So this is incredibly exciting. At its core, RISE is on a mission to find extraordinary young people who need an opportunity and then to support them for life as they use their talents in service to for the good of others, which we're really excited about. Eric and Wendy Schmidt have spent their careers betting early on exceptional talent and finding ways to harness the power of technology. Just last year, they committed to spend over $1 billion philanthropically supporting and elevating young people. And RISE is the anchor program to that commitment. And so RISE is a lifetime program. So those who become global winners will receive individualized support for their lives, including scholarships, mentorship, career support, and other services that will help them in their efforts to do good for others. We really want to help young people use their talents for good. We know they have incredible capability and unique perspective on the world, and the program is designed to help them have the most impact wherever it is that they would like to have that impact. And finally, our hope is that RISE is going to be a program that's for everyone, even those who don't make it into the global finalist pool of 100. We're hoping to build a community of young people and provide a broader network of thousands of young people with access to opportunities, programming, and that's part of why we've built such a rich ecosystem on the Hello World app and have partnered with so many great organizations that work with young people all around the world to help them have impact.
That's great. Thank you, Tony, for that. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know I gave an introduction. I wanted people to know about RISE first before we start getting into a bit more details. So thank you for that overview. But could you tell us a bit about yourself and kind of why you're working at RISE?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am here just outside of Washington, D.C. in my home in Maryland. I've been with Schmidt Futures for about 1.5 years now and have had the pleasure of working on RISE, specifically thinking about the international partnerships that we would need to find really extraordinary young people, to help screen and select them, and then to help support them in their efforts to do good. And so that's one of the duties that I have here at Schmidt Futures. I think, as everyone knows on this call, we do that in partnership primarily with the Rhodes Trust. So they are our founding partner of RISE. We work very closely with them. And then we've had the pleasure of finding organizations like Amideast and a couple of hundred other really phenomenal organizations all around the world who will help get the word out about RISE and make sure that people know that it's an opportunity, and then also provide them with great resources and great programming.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Um, People in Egypt really want to know about the work of Schmidt Futures and the Rhodes Trust, what work that they do. And can you give us a little bit more information about these two organizations, who they are, why are they doing this? What is their role in supporting youth worldwide? This is a global program, it's not just in Egypt. Just a bit of background about the two institutions and why they're doing this and what they hope to achieve from this kind of support globally.
Yeah, absolutely. So I certainly can speak more so for Schmidt Futures, so at its core, we are a talent organization, and that is sort of our core theory on how you change the world and how you have impact. And so over the past several years, we've been designing a variety of programs that find exceptionally talented people at really interesting inflection points in their lives and in their careers. And we help connect them to really interesting opportunities and ways for them to give back. So that could be a young person coming out of a really top computer science program from undergraduate, bringing them into our associate product manager program, and then deploying them to really phenomenal nonprofits and organizations and researchers that would benefit from that kind of infusion of technology talent, for example. But we first started to collaborate with the Rhodes Trust around a program called the Schmidt Science Fellows, which finds phenomenal people coming out of doctoral programs and then brings them into really interesting interdisciplinary programs. And that was such a successful partnership that we realized we'd like to do more together. The Rhodes Trust, as you know, has over a century of experience of finding exceptional talent. They have a global network and a global reach. And we thought it would be really interesting to shift our focus now, or add programming that finds young people 15 to 17 years old, which we think is an incredibly important inflection point in their lives. If you think about it, a young person typically at this age hasn't quite determined exactly what they want to do from a career path perspective. And they're still figuring out the impact they want to have on the world. And so the Rhodes Trust and Schmidt Futures came together and announced in 2019 that we wanted to collectively form and build RISE. And so we're in the process of doing that. We're excited that the application window is now open. It opened in November, and folks will have until January 29th to download the Hello World app and create a profile and start their application process there. We've now also expanded it to WhatsApp. So a young person can actually do the entire interview process through WhatsApp. And then in some cases, if a young person doesn't have access to either of those platforms, we are trying to build out paper-based options that they could use as well.
That's super helpful. And so really it's about identifying kids who are between 15 and 17 globally who are super talented and giving them the opportunity to use those talents to do good in the world and to make the world in the way that, you know, we all want to see it and move into a good direction by providing them the kinds of opportunities that they need. That's incredible. The application, as you said, is open, and it closes on January 29th, 2021. It's for young people between the ages of 15 and 17, but if you're 14 and you can still apply, because then by the time your application is in, you would be 15. Can you tell us a little bit about the application process, because it's a very different and unique application method? Most programs like this are either just a direct application that's online or it's paper-based, but Schmidt Futures has really, with the RISE program, kind of tried to create something incredibly innovative in terms of the application process. Could you describe to us and for our audience today in detail the application process, because it is really new and different?
Yeah, at its core, it's really carried out in sort of 3 stages. First and foremost, the applicant will create a profile on the Hello World app, answer some basic questions, receive parental consent to go forth with the application process. And then we ask you to film video submissions, video essays, where really you get to tell us about your unique perspective on the world, the types of things you're interested in carrying out, the impact you want to have on the world, and how you want to be a positive agent for change. So you'll submit those video essays, and then what we think is actually really unique is we ask your peers to help evaluate those submissions, and you'll get an opportunity to learn from your peers as well, and to watch their videos and to provide feedback, which we think is a really unique approach. But it is also one that allows RISE to encourage as many people as possible to apply. And so that's where I'll also sort of remind everyone, it's at this stage where you've applied, and whether or not you continue on and become a global winner, you are entering into a community, and you are becoming a part of a broader, a rich community. So we encourage you to go all the way through the process, stay engaged, and continue to come back. So the second stage is an opportunity for you to actually carry out a project of some sort that really just showcases who you are and showcases your commitment to solving a problem in your community in some way. This does not have to be anything expensive. This could be absolutely free. If you are a musician, you can host a Zoom concert for free. If you are an artist, you can paint a mural that brightens the day of people in your community. Right? It's just a chance to showcase what makes you unique, and a chance for you to give back in a way that feels authentic to you. Right? So we encourage that. No cost associated with that. Doesn't have to be expensive or elaborate. It just needs to be a chance to showcase who you are. And then the third one is, as many would anticipate, it's more interview focused, where we get a chance to chat with a smaller pool of folks, and then 100 global winners will be selected from the many thousands who will apply. And those people will have access to a lifetime of benefits and resources. That could, of course, include scholarship, mentorship, career support, seed funding, or an opportunity to apply for seed funding for really innovative ventures and activities that you would carry out later in your career that would have impact on the world and be, create positive change.
That's incredible. And so how are you assessing the applicants? I mean, when they come in, it's incredible that there's peer review, that, just bringing in the applicants to be part of the Schmidt Futures community or the RISE community, and that they're not only applying, but that they're also giving their feedback about other people. There's incredible connectivity there. Beyond that, what are you looking for in the people that apply?
Exactly. So at its core, we're really looking for highly empathetic people who truly care about the service, about being in service to others and wanting to give back. Tremendous integrity, tremendous grit and determination. And you're a highly capable, brilliant young person. It's those attributes that we think are going to be the hallmarks of what a young RISE winner would be. And so that's what we're looking for throughout the entire application process. And so we're excited about what a pool of not only the 100 global winners, but the larger community of 1,000+ people who have empathy, integrity, brilliance, and grit. That's a pretty powerful group of people who have the ability to change the world in many, many incredible ways at the local level and on the global level when we're talking about really big and important issues. And so those are the types of aspects that we encourage you to think hard about, how you can showcase those aspects of yourself through the video process, through the service project that you carry out, and then hopefully as you advance to the interview stage.
Yeah. And so, like you were saying, it doesn't have to be something that's costly or expensive, or it's something that is going to showcase this young person's not only their talent, but their empathy for other people, like you're saying, their desire to help others, a strong sense of integrity and grit and perseverance. I think those are the kinds of qualities that we're going to need as we move into the next decade, most definitely.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. There's been so much thought that's been put into the design of this program, not only in terms of the design of what's going to be on offer and in terms of support, but even just the application process. You mentioned that that even people who are not selected from the 100, that if somebody's just applied, they also continue to be part of the Schmidt Futures. And so even if somebody's not so sure about whether they kind of fit in or fit into the application, you are encouraging people to apply. Could you talk to us a little bit about that in the broader community?
Yes, absolutely. So I've mentioned this before, but I think it's really, really important to highlight here, and I'm glad you've brought it up. It is really, truly our intent not to build a program that is known for turning away people and being selective and rejecting people. That's not Rise's intent at all. We recognize that there are tremendously talented people all around the world who need access to opportunities, who need a special boost, and who can make a tremendous difference. We are excited about identifying 100 global winners per year, but we think that broader community of thousands are going to be really impactful change makers. And so we are still in the process of thinking of even more creative and exciting ways to support them. We are working actively to source partner organizations like Amideast and many others who will bring a rich array of resources and programming to these people. And we'll look for ways to engage them going forward. So encourage everyone who's 15 to 17 years old to apply. We encourage you to take the chance, you fill out the application, take part in the process. You will join a community. And we obviously wish you the best of luck and hope you make it into that global 100, but we are working very hard to make sure that it's a beneficial experience for those who make it into the broader community. Several things that I'd like to bring up there. We've been working with really interesting and innovative leaders, thought leaders, experts in the field to create great content, learning modules, challenges, other interesting ways to just sort of keep the community engaged and interested. But I would also point out that Rise is still a work in progress. We are building the program and it will evolve over time. And you raised an excellent point that we've put a lot of thought and effort into building a program that we're very proud of, but we are also humble enough to know that it is not perfect, it's not done, and we have plenty more work to do. And so the members of the Rise global community will be invited to give feedback to help shape it, to help determine the types of programming that they need, the types of benefits and resources that would be valuable to them, and that will ultimately help them have a broader impact on the world. So know that we are seeking that kind of feedback throughout the process.
Yeah, that's incredible. That kind of really does resonate with this idea that you're creating community, because it's not only just peer-to-peer evaluations of or feedback on the applications, but also that people that apply can give the Rise program input to make it even better. And I think that's exemplary of what you are saying and what you really want to do. There are two things when it comes to the people that are applying that I think would be helpful for our audience. If you could, and you probably mentioned this before, but if you could really highlight what kind of talents are you looking for? You've mentioned the skill sets or the characteristics of the people that are applying, but what kind of talents are you looking for? And then my next question would be, for these talents and the people that are going to pass the application phase or the 100 global winners, what do you mean by lifetime of support? I think that's something that the audience really wants to hear about. But if we could talk a little bit about what are the talents that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's actually a really great question, and one that we get quite a bit. Because Schmidt Futures, we do so much interesting work at the intersection of technology and impact. People often think that Rise is just focused on people who have that sort of computer science and engineering background. Mm-hmm. But the reality is we recognize that the world's challenges are going to be solved by people who have a much wider range of skills and talents. So if you are a person who speaks 12 languages, if you are a brilliant mathematician, if you're a brilliant computer scientist, if you're a phenomenal artist, musician, the full range and spectrum of talents is what we're hoping to identify, nurture, and support, because we recognize that it's going to take a wide swath and range of talents to have impact on the world. So You do not need to be a computer science or engineering or math expert in order to make it all the way through and to be a very, very active, welcome member of the program, and you could win from any discipline. So I hope we can underscore that. Would you mind repeating the second question though? I want to make sure I get this one right. Yeah.
So those are the skill sets, but what are the people that are then selected? And they could be, you know, like you mentioned, they don't have to be computer science. They could be somebody who is into dance or theater or the arts or brilliant mathematician or somebody who's just incredibly fascinated by community mobilization, whatever it is. For these individuals, for these individuals that get to the final application phase, what kind of support is the RISE program going to be providing? Because we say lifetime of support. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, and this is actually one of our most common questions, and it's also one of our hardest to answer. And so here's what I could say we know up front. All winners, the global 100, will receive a technology package. So that we do know, and we're very excited about that. All of those winners will be invited to a residential experience, and that would come at no cost to themselves. We'll certainly have to design this in a smart way that is, you know, in keeping with health and safety protocols given the pandemic that is going on. And so we'll, of course, adjust timing and make sure that's a safe and wonderful experience for them. So we know those two things are true. From there, the reason why it's tricky to answer this question is because each of these individuals have such unique backgrounds and skills and abilities and interests. It's really custom tailored. And so that's why we sort of go back to if a young person is interested in going to college, perhaps it's scholarship so they can afford to do that. If a young person is already ready to create a venture or form an entity that's going to have impact on their community or the world, well, perhaps they would want to apply for seed funding or capital to help to scale that idea. And so it really becomes tailored to the individual. I'm a believer, and I think we at Schmidt Futures and the Rhodes Trust are big believers in the value of mentorship. And so we're working very actively to identify ways to pair these really talented young people with a mentor, either from their community or from a field that is you know, of interest to them. And perhaps that could be an interesting value add. But it could come anywhere in that range of support: scholarship, mentorship, career support, seed funding. It's those types of things that we would want to work with these individuals to support them over their life, in exchange for them continuing to do, you know, at the moments in their life when they're going to do good for others and when they're focusing on sort of social impact. Yeah,
that's really incredible. And the age group that you've selected, 15 to 17, that is, like you said, that's an inflection point in someone's life. You know, what we are exposed to at that age, what we're provided, what kind of opportunity, that makes the world of difference in what a person does in their life later on, and what they do for their community and what they do for other people. So, and I think this idea that it is tailor-made to the individual, based on what their needs are and what is going to be most useful for them is really incredible, and very different from, you know, a very traditional kind of program where it's a scholarship or it's a mentorship program or it's a training program. And there's a I think with the kind of community that's going to be created in RISE, there'll be so many people that are going to give great ideas about what they actually need. So that door is open, and that's really, really incredible. Could you tell us a little bit in terms of the numbers of how many semi-finalists and how many finalists and how many global winners? I know you've mentioned there'll be 100 global winners. This program is global. This webinar is for Egypt and for the region and the Arab region as well. So probably we have some people from the region attending. But could you tell us a little bit about the numbers and where you will be selecting them from, and how many will you be selecting from the Arab world and the region, if there is that number?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's a hard one because it's actually unclear how large of the applicant pool will be. As we said, our hope is to make this a program that's for anyone around the world. I'm very excited. As of my last count, a couple days ago, we were already at applicants from over 140 countries. which to me is just truly incredible and is a sign that we're getting the word out through great partners like yourselves to all reaches of the globe and into really, really hard to reach places, which is incredibly exciting. So because we don't know the total size, it's hard to determine what that looks like, getting down to that final group of 100. But again, there's a part of me that would also say it doesn't matter as much, because the value of that broader RISE community that people will enter into when they apply for this. So our hope is that community is going to be very large, very vibrant, maybe regional in nature, and we want RISE community members to interact with one another, to get to know one another, to collaborate together, and to collectively have great impact. When we get down to the global winners, as I mentioned, there will be 100 of them, which we think is a manageable number of young people to provide custom tailored support. But we are also really ambitious, and our belief is in trying to scale that number to even more in subsequent years. But this year it'll be 100 winners, and that is our goal. We actually have not set caps or quotas or specific targets by country or by region. But I can say that we are very committed to this being a very diverse applicant pool. There will be, representation equally from a gender perspective, global representation. So we are certainly seeking to make sure that this is a very well-balanced, diverse cohort, because frankly, that kind of diversity is what's going to make them more successful in doing great things as individuals and collectively.
That's incredible. That's incredible. This is casting a very wide net globally. So people from anywhere in the world can apply to the RISE program, because I know some people were asking on the chat here. I just noticed that, can you apply if you're outside of Cairo? You can apply if you're in Cairo or any governorate or any country in the world, really.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So truly it is for RISE specifically, if you are between the ages of 15 and 17, this program is for you. And anywhere in the world, you are welcome to apply from any discipline.
Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
No problem. No, that's exactly it. So we're really excited about the global nature of the program, and welcome everyone to encourage people who fall between 15 and 17 years old to apply for the program.
Yeah, and it's and through the outreach that's happening, it's directed towards young people 15 to 17, but also there's we're encouraging parents to encourage their kids to apply. We're encouraging young people to maybe nominate some of their peers if they see somebody who's exceptionally talented, and to share the information of what's available, because ultimately everybody will benefit from, whether they are one of the global winners or they're part of the community. There's benefit that will come from that.
You're absolutely right. And one of the things that I'd point out is there's actually an incentive. If you nominate a young person and they go on to win, you can receive $500 US. Yeah. And if you nominate someone who nominates someone, you can get $250, right? So there is actually a financial incentive. So we actually really are encouraging people to nominate others for RISE. Yeah. So spread the word, please. But you're absolutely right. Parents and educators are a really important stakeholder group in RISE. And I can tell you that when an educator, for example, sees something special in a young person and encourages them to apply, that means a lot. It goes a very long way, and it really does encourage them to stick with the application process and to continue on throughout. So teachers, I would tell you that our nomination process is actually quite simple. It is as simple as you giving the link to a young person and encouraging them to stick with it. You don't have to write lengthy letters of recommendation or anything of the sort. It truly is nominating a young person. We'll send them the information, the link, and get them going. But it means a lot to young people, and it's very valuable for RISE as a program.
Yeah. Well, at that age, you know, getting the support from family or from an educator, sometimes you might not know that you're so talented in a particular area, but someone sees that in you. And that's a great endorsement. So yes, we encourage parents
Yeah.
and educators and teachers who are really important in a young person's life at this stage to either encourage them to apply, to spread the word in their communities, and to also nominate if they can. Yeah,
That's exactly right. And maybe to underscore that point just a little bit more, like at its core, Rise was really born out of a belief that talent is
Sorry, I think
no problem.
there we go.
Perfect. Sounds like you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'll unmute myself.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But yes, no, going back to that key point, Rise was really born out of a belief that exceptional talent exists all over the world, but opportunity does not. And our hope is to really identify people who perhaps don't see that in themselves, but they actually really, truly are gifted and special, and have all the talents necessary to make a very, very tremendous difference. And so that's really what the core of the program is about, is finding and elevating those people. And that's where parents and educators play an incredibly important role in spotting talent and spotting young people who may not see that in themselves. But those people really are deserving of this special boost and a lifetime opportunity that is Rise.
You know, one thing that I think we talked about and has come up also in the application is predominantly in English, but there will be more language adaptation. And this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that if people have questions in Arabic, they should ask them, and I can translate. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We are incredibly excited to get Rise out into the world as quickly as possible, because we think there's tremendous talent out there that is in need of the support right now. But we recognize that one of the limitations is that the program today is in English only. I can tell you it is one of our absolute top priorities to expand the language offerings to other languages. And so in subsequent years, you will absolutely see an expansion of Rise into Arabic, Spanish, French, and many other languages, which is really, really important to us. But I will say it's important to recognize this is part of the reason why we went with video essays. We think those are a great opportunity for people to showcase their talents, even if their English isn't absolutely perfect. So really, we're hoping you can communicate your ideas and express yourself in English, but we wouldn't want to discourage you from applying if your English isn't absolutely perfect. A person can still win who is still learning English and perfecting it. And then of course, in subsequent years, we'll be able to have more languages represented.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. I think it's incredibly encouraging for our audience to hear that language proficiency is not a barrier to the application or to winning. It's really about the talent and the peer reviews and the characteristics that you mentioned of empathy, integrity, grit, and perseverance. And these are the things that Rise is looking for. A number of people have asked this question, and I have it here. Because there's some people that are like different age groups, but if a young person is older than 17 applies, could they get any kind of support through the Rise program?
So Rise is really truly a program that is designed for people between 15 and 17 years old. As we mentioned, this is the anchor program in response to Eric and Wendy's very generous philanthropic commitment of $1 billion to elevate talent. In subsequent years, we will expand the program offerings that are designed to make good on their pledge and focus on other age ranges as well. As I mentioned, Schmidt Futures has a number of talent programs that I would encourage people of other age ranges to take a look at and consider applying. And of course, our primary partner at the Rhodes Trust, of course, they've got brilliant offerings as well that people can also consider.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for mentioning that. And that's really encouraging that there could possibly be expansion of the age group, but that for RISE, we're really looking at people between 15 and 17 years old.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, we think 15 to 17 is a really critical inflection point in a young person's life, and is an area of intervention that we think can really, really change and help boost the trajectory of a young person who wants to have impact on the world. And so we chose that age range very specifically, but we're, over the years, we'll of course expand new programs that focus on different age ranges as well.
That's incredible. Thank you. Before we go to the chat, because we've got quite a number of questions that I want to address here, is there anything else that you would like to add? Any tips or suggestions or anecdotes that you'd like to share with our audience today that could be helpful for them?
Yeah, I guess I would just say a reminder that, we are really heartened to see that we're in 140, we have applicants from 140 countries, and I hope that signals to everyone on this webinar that you have an opportunity to win. It's truly open for everyone. If you can understand the words that I'm saying today, your English is good enough for you to submit a video essay, go through the application process, and give it a shot. So we certainly encourage that. We would hope that people just bring their authentic selves to the interview process and showcase what it is that makes them special, whether it's in the video essays or and carrying out a service project of some sort, or if they advance to the interview rounds as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tony, for that so much. So I'm going to the chat now. I'm going to read out some of the questions. I think a lot of the things that people are asking have kind of already been addressed, but I think it would be helpful maybe to reiterate. One person asked if you could define specifically and exactly extraordinary and talented. What is extraordinary and talented? I think we spoke a little bit about that, but
yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think the reason why we leave this somewhat open is because, the challenges in the future, the challenges that we are facing today, are going to require skills and disciplines, and talents across a wide spectrum of areas. So we actually kind of leave this pretty broadly defined. As I mentioned, we're hoping and looking for empathy, integrity, grit, brilliance. We're looking for those types of attributes. These will be very sharp young people who care about those around them and would benefit from a special boost that is a program like RISE. So that's who we're looking for, but those talents can be defined very, very, very broadly, and we think that's important. And that's a designed feature of the program, is to be something that is designed to support a wide range of talents. It's also why it's a lifetime commitment of support. Because people are going to come from a wide array of backgrounds and disciplines, and it takes time to figure out the kind of impact you want to leave on the world, and to develop the skills to have that impact on the world.
Yeah, it's incredible. We mentioned in some of the talents that it could be maths, it could be in science, it could be STEM or STEAM, the arts, theater, dance. But somebody was mentioning here swimming, and I think we haven't mentioned sports. Is sports an area that you would consider a talent?
Well, it is an area of tremendous leadership. I think athletes and all around the world have proven time and time again that they can use their platforms for global good and for local good. So absolutely, people who excel in the field of sports and athletics are absolutely encouraged to apply to RISE.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Somebody was saying that they're going to be 18 in March. Can they apply?
Let me go to so I would turn them to the frequently asked questions section on RISE. So if you go to risefortheworld.org, you will see a tremendous amount of information here. And then if you go to the FAQs, the frequently asked questions section, you can go and you can see all sorts of aspects. So eligibility for RISE, how you apply, the cost of the program, all of these types of things. And so if you were between the ages of 15 and 17 as of July 1st, 2021, then you're eligible for the program.
Okay, all right. That's great. And I think what we're going to do is we'll put the link to the application or the link to information about the application.
Yeah, exactly. So it's risefortheworld.org.
Okay, fantastic. There's somebody who had a question in Arabic. If you don't mind, I'll read it in Arabic and then I'll translate it for you. في حد كان بيسأل بالنسبة كمان للمرحلة الأولى اللي هي الديدلاين بتاعها يوم 29 يناير، هل يفضل أقدم دلوقتي ولا عادي ممكن أقدم في أي وقت قبل الديدلاين قبلها بيوم مثلا؟ This person is asking if they should apply now or can they wait until like right before the deadline? I guess it's open, right?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I, as a person who procrastinates, can completely understand this. I would encourage people to apply as early as they can, but the deadline is the deadline. They can absolutely apply at the very end. It's certainly their option. I would encourage them to take whatever time it is that they need to create and present the best representation of themselves. So if they need a couple more weeks to do that, then they should certainly take that time, but you've got to get it in by January 29th.
Yeah. One thing I think we hadn't talked about, if somebody submits an application and they want to redo the video, is that possible?
That's actually a good question. I'm not sure. So let me follow up on that one. I'll make a note for myself and perhaps we could follow up and we could send that through Amideast.
Okay. All right. Great.
Resubmissions.
Yeah, let me just answer this in Arabic. فبالنسبة للسؤال ده هو طبعا ممكن أي حد يقدم قبل الديدلاين يوم 29 بس طبعا هو يفضل إن التقديم يبقى بدري علشان لو الواحد يقدر ما يبقاش تحت ضغط نفسي قوي وإن يبقى مدي لنفسه وقت إن هو يعمل الفيديو الصح وبالنسبة للمشروع برضو ده نفس الحاجة. Somebody was asking about the project and again the question is in Arabic. بالنسبة للمرحلة الثانية البروجكت بتاعي هل في حاجات معينة المفروض أتجنبها أو حاجات معينة المفروض أعملها أو تكون موجودة فيه. So somebody is asking about the project. I think this is a bit of an early phase, right? They're asking, is there any specific guidance with regards to the project, what they need to do, or if there's anything that they need to avoid or anything that they should really focus on when it comes to the project?
That's a great question. So I actually, one of my colleagues, Jody, is on the webinar right now, and she sent me a lifeline. So you actually can resubmit your video essays. So that's good news.
That's great.
Which is great. So it is a chance for you to really put your best foot forward and make sure you are really happy with what you're going to showcase. The application deadline is the 29th of January, so you've got a little bit of time. In terms of the project, so very, very detailed instructions, of course, are available in in the app. So if they're applying through WhatsApp, if they're applying on using the Hello World platform or app, so they'll be able to see very detailed instructions about the project. The only point that I would make right now, one, it should really truly be an authentic representation of yourself. It is an opportunity for you to showcase the types of impact you're interested in having on your community or those around you. But I would also say, look, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and so you should also be very safe in whatever way you go about carrying out that project or trying to have that impact. So we are obviously very aware of those limitations and the limitations that would place on someone. And so we encourage you to, first and foremost, be safe. But then look for ways to showcase your own unique talents and the impact you want to have on your community.
Okay, great. If you don't mind, I'll just translate that. هو توني أكد إن ممكن حد يقدم الفيديو ويابلود الفيديوز بس ممكن قبل الديدلاين قبل يوم 29 اللي هو الديدلاين ممكن يخش ويغير الفيديوز ويحسنها ويغيرها. ففي فرصة هنا ان لو حد فينا قدم ان هو ممكن يغير الفيديوز يحسنها ويقدم فيديوز ثانيه. المهم ان هي تبقى قبل الديدلاين بتاع يوم 29. بالنسبه للمشروع توني بيقول ان المشروع ده لازم يبقى حاجه نوعا ما بتساعد المجتمع، حاجه الشخص اللي بيقدم مهتم بيها جدا وبتبقى دلاله على شخصه وعلى اهتماماته الحقيقيه. ولكن في نفس الوقت في طبعا يعني معروف ان احنا في فتره الكوفيد في بعض الحاجات ممكن تبقى صعبه ان احنا نعملها، ففي مراعاه للحكايه دي، وان طبعا اهم حاجه ان كلنا نبقى في امان. اتمنى ان ده يكون جاوب السؤال على المشروع. A number of people have asked if this meeting is recorded. Yes, this meeting is recorded and it will be uploaded on the Amideast Facebook page so that you can go back to it to go through any of the answers that Tony has provided. الويبينار ده متسجل وهيبقى uploaded على الفيسبوك بتاع Amideast، فلو في أي حد يحب إن هو يتفرج عليه تاني أو يشيره مع ناس تانية فده يبقى حاجة رائعة فيها كل الإجابات. اوكي.
هو ده برضه عن منحة ايه او مسابقة ايه؟
اوكي. هو احنا بنتكلم هنا على الرايز، منحة رايز، وفي اللينكس اللي موجودة هنا دي اللي هتقول لحضرتك انت ممكن تخش تعرف معلومات اكتر عن البرنامج.
جمعة مباركة، جمعة مباركة.
شكرا. اوكي. All right, let me see what other questions we've got
هو
here.
منحة رايز دي برضه عن ايه؟
بص حضرتك، احنا كنا في الاول بنتكلم منحة رايز دي عن للافراد او الاشخاص اللي ما بين عمر 15 و 17، والشميت فاونديشن والرودز فاونديشن بيطلبوا ان هم يقدموا وبيوفروا لهم مساعده بعد كده. المساعده دي بتبقى ممكن في صوره منح دراسيه، ممكن في صوره منتورشيب، ممكن في صوره مساعدات للمشاريع اللي هم عايزين يقوموا بيها، والشخص اللي مهتم لازم يخش يقدم على المنحه قبل 29 يناير 2021. اوكي. والمعلومات كلها موجوده، ممكن تلاقيها على الفيسبوك بيج بتاع Amideast برضو، موجودة بالعربي وبالإنجليزي. Okay. So just to, yeah, anybody from Egypt, anybody from anywhere in the world can apply. This was another question. Somebody who's 45 is asking, can I benefit from this program? I know we talked about this, that, you know, this program is only for 15 to 17-year-olds, but hopefully there will be other programs for other age groups.
What is the topic about?
ينفع حضرتك تبعت لي بيج الفيس في الشات؟
Okay. Let me just mute everybody so we can. لو ممكن بس if لو في حد عنده أسئلة، لو ممكن بس لو سمحتوا تكتبوها في الشات. Okay. وإحنا هنرد على كل الأسئلة. Okay. All right. Let me go back, Tony, to. All right.
Don't mute us. This is democracy.
Okay. All right. So somebody was asking if talents could be cooking and photography.
I'm good at neither of those, but ones I aspire to. Again, you know, it truly is intended to be interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, a broad showcase and range of talents. And so if that's your gift and that's your specialty, you know, bring that authentically to the application process and share that with the world. We're encouraging people from all backgrounds and all interests to apply.
Okay, wonderful. So we've got cooking, photography, and also learning languages. So yeah. Okay. All right. What other questions do we have?
I saw a question about what the video should be about. So you will be asked to answer specific prompts. And so again, I encourage you to you know, be as authentic and clear as you can in response to those prompts. We are looking for, you know, really ways that you showcase empathy, grit, determination, brilliance, you know, perseverance, all of those types of attributes, but those should come through genuinely in your video submissions in response to the prompts that they're asking.
Yeah, great. Somebody was saying this is a question in Arabic, and I'll read that out and then translate it. لو عندي فكرة بس هي صعبة إن أنا أطبقها لوحدي، هل أقدر أقدمها للبرنامج وحد يساعدني إن أطبقها. So somebody's asking if I have an idea, but it's a really complicated idea. It's not something that I can do on my own. Is that something worthwhile that I should kind of submit?
That's a really interesting question. I would encourage them to think about, is there a way to pilot that and do it on a small scale, or do a version of it that they actually can execute themselves. But we are fully aware that many of these young people who are incredibly talented are going to have very complicated ideas on what they'd like to carry out, and this is why programs like RISE are so necessary. People will need a lifetime of support to carry out some of these really, really impactful ideas. But to the extent that you can, if you're talking about the project that you're supposed to carry out and the second component of the application process, we would encourage you to do whatever you can to bring your best foot forward in that and to showcase impact to the extent that you can during that portion. So a small scale pilot, a small version of it, something that showcases the need for the bigger idea that you have and allows you to carry that out in a small scale way would be wonderful.
Great. فبالنسبة للرد على السؤال ده، هو توني بيقول إن ممكن لو المشروع كبير قوي وتطلب إن ناس كتيرة قوي تبقى متدخلة فيه، الأفضل إن ممكن لو نشوف إزاي ممكن يتعامل على سكيل صغير كفكرة مبدئية، وعلشان يقبلوا نتيجة، وساعتها ممكن ده يتقدم. فدي تبقى حاجة أسهل شوية بدل ما تبقى فكرة كبيرة قوي. دايما المشاريع لما تبتدي صغير هي بتبقى احسن، عشان الواحد بيقدر يعرف بعد كده ايه اللي مشي صح وايه اللي مشي صح وايه اللي محتاج يتحسن. Okay, somebody was asking, can I show 2 talents in one video?
Oh, that's interesting. I believe the answer is yes. There's really no reason why you can't showcase any number of things you're really skilled and good at. But it is hard to pack a lot of content into one video, I'm sure. So be mindful of that. But I would say yes. The answer is yes. Whatever is an authentic demonstration of what makes you unique, what demonstrates your unique perspective on the world, which showcases your tremendous talents, you're encouraged to show that.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, they're gifted in the field of politics, economics, and debating, and trying to solve the world's problems. Should they apply?
Well, I think we can all agree that those are incredibly important fields and areas where we need a tremendous amount of change. And so absolutely, yes, it'll be interesting to see how they want to showcase that. But those are absolutely fields where we need young people to take the reins and start to lead and to have an impact on the world through those types of mechanisms. So absolutely, if that's your passion and that's your field, encourage you to find a creative way to demonstrate that in a video.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you, Tony, so very much. I think we are exactly at 7 o'clock. We really appreciate the time that you've taken to speak to us today and to our audience, and to share the RISE program and the Schmidt Foundation and Rhodes Foundation's objectives, and just share all this information that I think is really helpful for our audience today to understand more about how they can apply, who is the program for, what kind of talents you're looking for, and really what are the long-term objectives of the RISE program. So thank you so very much. I don't know if there's anything you want to say right before we end, before I tell people where they can go for more information.
Yeah, no, just one, we're incredibly excited about having this many participants on this webinar. It is a sign of the tremendous talent that exists in Egypt and across the region. Yeah. We highly encourage you to apply to the program. This program is for you. And we're excited about seeing your video submissions of the projects you're going to carry out, and hopefully meeting many of you in the interview process. And so thank you very much for your engagement here, and I'll let you share the great information where they can find the website and the app and all those types of things.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony, for your time. I just want to tell everybody, we do these webinars regularly, and I think having you today has made the world of difference and impacting the number of people that are listening in. So thank you so much for that. I do want to share with everybody that we have webinars. We have 2 webinars a week where we share information about the RISE program. These are posted on the Amideast Facebook page. So either in terms of if you would like to attend, please register for these, or you can listen in on webinars that have already been recorded. For any information that you want to find about the RISE program, you can go to the Amideast Facebook, the Amideast website. You can call our call center, and you can also email support@risefortheworld.org. And also, of course, the RISE website, which we have posted here as well. Whether the website or the Facebook page, all of the information that we've discussed today on what this program is, what is the RISE program, how to apply, who is to apply, the selection, all of the information is there, and our team have posted the links for you. Thank you so much for attending with us today. We hope that this has been beneficial for you, and I think, like Tony, we're looking forward to a lot of people from Egypt and the region applying. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Have a great evening and a great weekend.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.